Hello, people who are watching this. Before I record every books like Agency Mystery, The Jaguar's Jewel, or 건방의 건방진 수련기, like that. But from today, I'm gonna record it at the morning, right after I get up. So I apologize to you of my weird stuff, which is different from the past. Anyway, let's read chapter 6. Dink waited until Yuvin went back to the kitchen and told the others what he seen. But the office is locked, Josh said. Maybe she has a key, Dink said. Where will she get a key? Josh asked. You have one, and James Pride has the other. The question is, Ruth said, why does she go up there now when nobody's around? Dink stood up. We need to find out. Maybe she left a clue. Let's go before Yuvin gets back. The kids hurried out into the rain. They scooted next door and slipped through the green door. Look, Dink said, pointing at the carpet, wet footprints. They hurried up the stairs. At the top, they saw more wet spots. Dink's hand was shaking so badly, he could barely unlock the door. The office was dark, except for the light over the fish tank. The only sound was the tank's bubbling filter. This place is creepy, Josh whispered. Dink checked the floor. No wet footprints here, he said quietly. Maybe Regina Wu wiped her feet before she came in, Rose whispered back. Maybe, Josh said. But why are we whispering? He flipped the wall switches and the lights, ceiling fan, and music all came on. Dink squinted in the sudden brightness. Okay, he said, let's look around. For what? Josh asked. I'm not sure, Dink answered, but Regina Wu came up here for some reason. Either she took something or she left something behind. I'll go through the stuff in the crate, Ruth said. Dink, why don't you check James' office? Josh, you take the trash can. Why do I have to go poking through the trash? Josh asked. Because you're always a good detective, and good detectives always check the trash, Ruth said. Cool, said Josh. He headed for the trash can next to the desk. Dink walked into Mr. Price's office. There was a small desk with a locked door. A framed picture of 3 people stood on the desk. Dink recognized James Price. The woman and child must be his wife and daughter, he thought. Dink checked a gray file cabinet in one corner. It was locked. Then he ran his fingers across the bookshelves. He checked inside some of the books, not knowing what he was looking for. He even peeked under the rug. He couldn't tell if anything was missing, and he found no clues. As he started to leave, Dink suddenly noticed that one wall seemed different from the others. He stared at it, trying to figure out what it looked odd about it. Then he realized what it was. This wall had no bookshelf, no file cabinets, no pictures, no anything. It was completely bare. Dink stepped closer and ran his fingers over the striped wallpaper. Just above his head, he felt a thin crack. He followed the crack with his fingers until he felt another crack, this one running down toward the floor. 2 feet in the opposite direction, a third crack ran to the floor. The cracks were almost hidden in the wallpaper. Dink jumped up, back as if hands had been burned. Guys, he shouted. Josh and Ruth came running into James' office. Dink showed them his discovery. I think it's a door. I think it's a secret door, he said. He tried to force his fingers into the cracks, but the door wouldn't budge. If there was If there were stairs behind this wall, Ruth said, that they would lead right to the secret room in Eugene's kitchen. Josh's eyes opened wide. That would mean she could get in here without a key. Do you think she was coming here when I saw her downstairs? Dink asked. Maybe she met Regina Wu, Ruth said. Eugene could have let her in. Maybe, Dink said, walking back to his uncle's office. But why? We gonna keep looking. Did you find anything in the trash, Josh? Look, Josh said. On the floor where Ruth had been sitting was a pile of packing peanuts. She had unwrapped each artifact and put them aside. All I found was the same treasures we looked at yesterday, she said. I don't think anything is missing. The kids continued to search behind curtains, under the oriental rug. They pulled out everything from each desk drawer. They even dug in the dirt in the potted plants next to the windows. Nothing but a secret door that doesn't open, Josh muttered, and we can't check out the door downstairs with Eugene in the kitchen, Ruth said. So now what? Josh asked. I don't know, Dink said. He looked at Josh and Ruth, but my uncle is counting us to find something up here, and I'm not gonna stop it till I find it. And that is the end. Is not the end. So, I'm gonna explain. We're gonna read chapter 17 because since it's like only 7 minutes, it's short, and I can only record it to 15 minutes until. So we're gonna record 2 chapters. So let's read. Chapter 7. But we've already looked at everything, Josh said, flopping down on the rug. Ruth walked over to the fish tank and picked up the container of food. That is weird, she said. There are already some flakes floating on the water. Did one of you guys feed the fish? I didn't, Dink said. Me neither, said Josh. Ruth looked at the food floating on the top. Well, someone did. Maybe it was the fish fairy, Josh said. Oh my gosh! Ruth screamed. What's the matter? Dink asked. Josh jumped to his feet, and he and Dink hurried over. Look what's on the bottom, Ruth said. She pointed down through the water. Josh put his nose up against the glass. It looks like a bunch of rocks to me. Ruth frowned. Somebody go turn out the lights, she said. Josh gave Dink a push. Go ahead, Dinkus. Dinka hurried over to the wall and flipped down the switches. The music, fan, and lights all went down. Ruth pointed at the bottom of the tank. See that glowy green rock? I think it's the jewel. Dinka elbowed Josh aside and looked at the stone. No, it's too big, he said. The emerald was like a golf ball, remember? Things always look bigger underwater, Ruth said. Your eyes are playing tricks on you again, Dink. Ruth reached down and poked the green rock out of the tank. Water dripped onto the floor, and she wiped it in her jeans. Out of the water, the rock didn't look anything like the other rocks in the fish tank. In the tank light, the rock shone a lustrous green. Wow, Dink said, it's beautiful. How did it get in here? Josh asked. I guess the thief dumped in it, Dink answered. But why would the thief do that? Ruth shook her head. Maybe he needed a quick place to hide it. Dink nodded. James was here early this morning. Maybe we caught him in the act. I'm turning on the lights, Josh said. He headed for the wall switches. Stop! Dink said suddenly. What's the sound? What sound? Josh asked as he turned on the fan, music, and lights. Dink walked over and flipped the switches down again. Now listen. He whispered into the darkness. Hear it? I think I do, Ruth said, like a little buzzing. Maybe it's the fish tank, Josh said. Ruth clicked off the bubbler. Nope, I still hear it, she said. Now I hear it too, Josh said. What can it be? So everything's turning off. I'm gonna turn on just the light, Dink said. When they could see, the kids began prowling around the office. Dinka stopped in front of the bookcase. Guys, it's louder over here, Josh giggled. The case of the buzzing books, he said. Dinka stood on tiptoe and ran his hands over the shelves. He felt a small button and pushed it. Suddenly, a shelf slid open. Look, he cried. Hey, those books are fake, Josh said. It's a hidden compartment. The space behind the fake books had a small TV set and a VCR. With the compartment open, the buzzing was loud. Then the VCR clicked, and the noise stopped. It was rewinding, Josh said. It must have come to the end of the tape. My dad's machine does the same thing. Yeah, but rewinding what? Dink asked. Then the VCR clicked again. The kids watched as a red light came on, and the numbers on the machine's face started counting up. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Hey, Josh said, now it's recording. Maybe your uncle has it for security, Ruth said. You could be right, Ruth, Dink said. He glanced at the ceiling. There must be a camera somewhere in the office. Do you think we're on a video? Ruth said. Let's take a peek. Good idea, said Josh. Dink quickly rewound the tape to the beginning, then turned on the TV and hit play on the VCR. An image came to the screen. For a moment, the tape showed them standing in front of the TV and VCR. Cool, Josh said. Then the picture jumped up and changed. Now the office looked empty and dark. They watched as the office door opened and James Pride walked in. This must be earlier today, Ruth said. James got here before us. Maybe it recorded him stealing the jewel, Josh said. They watched James walk over and switch on the light. Then he took off his raincoat and walked into his own office. The kids looked at each other. James hadn't gone anywhere near the crate. Hit fast forward, Josh said. We can scan ahead. Dinka pushed the button, and the tape began whirring fast. The picture on the screen flickered. Look, Ruth said, something's happening. Dinka quickly pressed the play. The tape slowed, and the kids saw themselves. And Uncle Warren walked into the office. They watched as they met James Pride. Then Uncle Warren led Dr. Pitt. The crate was open again, and Dr. Pitt checked the contents of each pack. Now we take the Jaguar out of the crate, Dick said, and the doc tells us it's a fake, Josh added. Ruth Rose pointed at the screen, and here he takes out his flashlight, and Dink and I pull the shades and shut off the lights, Josh said. The picture went black. The next thing they saw was the light from Dr. Pitt's flashlight. Then it went out. This is when you found the flashlight for him, Ruth Rose told Josh. A minute later, Dr. Pitt had the light in his hand again and was shining it on the Jaguar's stool. Then the lights came back on. Regina Wu soon showed up, and then the police came. The tape showed everyone leaving the office. Dinka reached out to hit the stop button. Wait, Ruth said. What about Yuvine and Regina Wu? Oh yeah, said Dink. Good thinking, Ruth Rose. They watched the empty office for a while. Dink was about to scan ahead when the door to James Pride's office opened and Yuvine walked in. The secret door does connect to Eugene's kitchen, Ruth said. They watched as Eugene walked across the office, straight toward the fish tank. When she got there, Eugene made kissing noises at the fish. Then she picked up the fish food, sprinkled some into the tank, and turned around and left. The kids looked at each other. I guess she's not the thief, said Josh. Ruth turned back to the TV. What about Regina Wu? She asked. They watched the tape for a few more minutes, but Regina Wu never appeared. Eventually, they saw themselves coming through the office door. Dink stopped the tape and hit the rewind button. I wonder why your uncle didn't tell the police about this tape, Josh said. If they watched this, they'd at least know that James and Eugene didn't steal the jewel. Dink nodded. Eugene didn't know the jewel was in the fish tank, he said, so I'll bet Jean Paul didn't put it there. Dink looked sad, and if Regina Wu couldn't even get in the office, Ruth let out a gasp. That means my uncle is the only other suspect, Dink said. And that is the end of Chapter 7 and Chapter 6. Now, cut up the video in the secret room. Now it's discovered that Jean Paul and James Pride is innocent, and the only suspect is Uncle Warren. See you next time in Chapter 8. Bye!